Hello, and welcome to this edition of Central Connecticut Now, the program that brings you closer to the issues covering our area and the media people that are involved in them every day. I'm Mike Schroeder, publisher and editor of the New Britain Herald and Bristol Press. And today my guest is Bill Moore, president of the Greater New Britain Chamber of Commerce, and almost brand new. Less than 90 days.
Yes.
We were joking a minute ago that you've almost passed your probation.
I hope so. I certainly hope so.
We're certainly glad you're here with us, and would like to, first of all, what's your background? What brings you here?
Yeah, well, thank you, Mike, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I'm from Connecticut, so it's not really a new venture for me, but I grew up in Waterbury. My first I graduated from St. Michael's College, and my first professional position was at the Greater Waterbury Chamber of Commerce. And I was hired there to be the head of their lobbying activity because I was very involved in politics in Waterbury, which, as anybody knows, can be a knuckle-dragging adventure and great training ground for anybody interested in the sport. It's a great area, and I was promoted from there, recommended from there by my boss, to go to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, where I spent 4 years doing legislative work, policy work, out of the New York City office. I was drafted by the Greater Providence Chamber following that to go on and become the head of their governmental affairs operation and their general manager. 4 years later, I went on and became the president of my own chamber, the Southeastern Connecticut Chamber, which is now the Eastern Connecticut Chamber. It's been merged some time ago. And I was there for 9 years through some very interesting economic times, and left there to take on a statewide trade association. I was with the Connecticut Associated Builders and Contractors for several years, left them and became partner to a company called Organization Dynamics, which is a consulting group that does work for economic development groups, chambers of commerce, trade associations, and decided I needed to get back into the game because I missed the day-to-day work of managing and operating a chamber or an association. So I left them and went to the Connecticut School Transportation Association, representing school bus operators.
Oh, wow.
Which was a great organization. It's a great operation. Went through some change over there and left to go back to Organization Dynamics, and ultimately went my way out to Greater Wilkes-Barre Chamber of Business and Industry. Stayed there for a while and came back to Connecticut, and actually Rhode Island, and worked for Organization Dynamics until I went to the Central Vermont Chamber of Commerce, where I just left after 3.5 years. Each move was an upward mobile move, unless going to Organization Dynamics, where my partner said, "We need you back here, please come back." And he'd make me an offer I couldn't refuse. And back in June or April, I think it was, this position opened up, and I took a stab at it. My wife and I always said we wanted to retire back to Connecticut. And so we've come into New Britain, and what an experience it's been so far.
And you just moved into your new house here,
right? We moved into New Britain in September. We closed on the house, had some work done to it, and we're still emptying boxes. In fact, tonight I'll be filling a dumpster again. And ideally, we'll finally be getting rid of that dumpster this week.
That'll be a milestone for you.
And then we start all the internal work. So it's been a great experience.
Wow, well, it's great to have you here.
Thank you.
I know you've kind of dug in almost as soon as you got here. And one of the first things you held was a strategic planning session with the board of directors to kind of get a handle on what was going on.
I'm glad you said one of the first things, because really the first thing I did was plan our golf outing. I found out that in Greater New Britain, you can play golf almost every day of the week and enjoy it. And I do play. I'm not all that good at it, as I demonstrated yesterday when I was out on the course, but we did get into strategic planning, and it was a good exercise. Most of the members of the board participated at some level. And we did a dive into what the chamber is, what we are, what we were, what we want to become. And we did a pretty good review process. We did the standards, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats review. And the board ranked all of our issues, whether it was a strength or something that needed to be changed. We found that the number one thing the Chamber was known for was our annual meeting. This year's, by the way, is coming up November 21st at CCSU. And that's a great answer. It really is, because people really enjoy the annual meeting. We get a very large turnout. It's our biggest event of the year. We get about 300 attendees. And they talk about it for about a month leading up, and they talk about it for a month afterwards, making it a very, very noteworthy event for us.
Yep.
So it's a good answer, but frankly, it's the wrong one.
Right.
We shouldn't be known as the convener of a large 300-person dinner meeting.
Yeah.
We should be known for more than that. And I think as a result of the annual or the strategic planning that we did, we will get greater notoriety for what we're planning on doing.
Now, there's a lot of awards that are given out that night to a very impressive list of local business people. Have those been announced?
Not yet. So
Okay.
I can tease it by saying there'll be about 6 or 7 awards, but we haven't finalized the last 1 or 2 of them. So tune in, you'll find out quickly enough.
You tune in to the NewBrittonHerald.com
This program.
and watch the New Britain Herald newspaper, because we'll be probably the first to have it.
You will, in all likelihood, be the first to have it, Mike, yes.
So it's always an interesting group of people.
It is, and looking over who the nominees have been, the committee's been reviewing them. There have been some tough choices.
Oh, sure.
But I think everybody will be really appreciative
Yep.
of the awards that we're giving out. There's about 6 or 7, running from community service to small business, Winged Victory, a Berlin Award, Plainville Award. It should be a good
Excellent.
good run.
And our people should contact the Chamber of Commerce if they see this before the meeting.
Absolutely, you can register.
there.
You can register today for the annual meeting at www.greaternewbrittonchamber.com. There's an application for reservations right on the website. Call our office at 860-229-1665, or certainly you can email info@greaternewbrittonchamber.com, and we'll get you lined up.
That's super. And so during this strategic planning process, what came out of it?
Well, what came out is that we are known well in the community. We need to build on that reputation. We need to grow it and grow our membership as well. We've got about 300 members in the Chamber, which is a good number for this area. There's about 3,000 businesses in the area we service, which is New Britain, Berlin, and we also have members in Plainville. There is a very good chamber in Plainville. We've got a great relationship with them. So we've got that core as our area. We've got members from outside the area. But we think we have an opportunity to grow. So one of the first items that we identified was growing the chamber. And we think within 3 years, we can be at 485 members.
Wow,
that's our
that's
target for membership for 3 years from now. We've also identified the creation of several committees. And 2 of them have the same name. We've got to change it. So I'm going to call one of them, for lack of a better term, our Futures Committee.
Yep.
What types of events, programs, and opportunities should we be engaged in so that we can then get the chamber to the next level? We've got a Business Development Committee, which will be organized to help our members and other businesses that are not yet members become stronger in their own right by having opportunities for growth and connecting people. That's one thing that the Chamber does very well. We connect through networking opportunities. We have an events committee that will put on things like our annual meeting, like our golf outing, and we're going to look for 2 other signature events for the year. Not necessarily signature events, but they will be working with our education committee, the newly formed one, to put on educational training for members and non-members alike to help keep people current
Sure.
and up to date with what's going on, whether it's involved in how to recognize weaknesses in your own finances, to what's new in import-export, what are opportunities for import-export that we could be engaged in, how do we identify new niche markets for our own businesses. So an education program like that will be something very current. We're going to do an economic outlook breakfast hopefully in December. We'll be putting that together. Final details yet to be worked out on a location. but that should be a very good program. We're working closely with Webster Bank on that project. We have a public policy committee that's new to the chamber, and that's something that we do need to be recognized for. Chambers of Commerce were organized to represent the interests of the business community. The first one was organized in Marseille, France in 1599. It's still operating today. And its core mission never changed, to represent the issues and concerns of the business community, recognizing that businesses working collaboratively together can produce greater results than a business working individually.
Yep.
So we're going to be engaged following that mantra, if you will, to advocate on behalf of the business community on the local, state, and federal levels to make sure that our voice is heard in the local community, in Hartford, and in Washington. Very important for us. That's where real economic development takes place. We've got to create a climate that's conducive to growing business in Connecticut. We don't have one right now. We have a basket case of mishmash of regulatory requirements. We've got no real central place to go to identify how do you get through all the hoops and churns to register a business and get a business up and running. We need to help to identify ways to do that. The business tax structure is really overbearing on business. It's overbearing on individuals. We need to create a better taxing structure. But Connecticut doesn't have a taxing or income problem. We've got a spending problem. That's our real problem. And we've got more revenue coming into the state today than in the history of the state. So we don't have an income state problem.
Yeah.
When you're looking at $2 billion deficits, you've got a spending problem.
Yeah.
So we're going to be weighing in with where we think you can tighten up the spending to help control those costs, to get the spending under control. We haven't yet taken a position on on tolls, but I've got a pretty good idea which way we're going on that. And the only reason we haven't taken that position yet is the committee hasn't met, and they haven't really looked into it, but I've got a pretty good idea what their thoughts are on that based on the input we're getting from members. And it shouldn't come as any surprise. The Chamber's not a big fan of new taxes. So if you equate tolls to a tax, I think you could see which way this is going.
Have you had any surprises since you've gotten here?
Oh, there's all kinds of surprises. There are. You take a look and you say, okay, where are we headed? What's our baseline? Where do we want to get to? We kind of overstated our membership slightly, not by a lot, but it's a little bit, so we've cleaned that off and leveled it down to where it ought to be. That's good. One non-surprise is the strength of the staff that we have.
Yes.
Nella Lestrina and Sarah Thompson are on our staff along with me. They are absolutely great people to be working with. The level of volunteerism from the board is very, very good. But one surprise that we found was the board's a little bit bigger than it's supposed to be. So that's a surprise, and we'll be addressing that as we go forward to get down to the levels we're supposed to be at. That's kind of a good surprise, but it's also a bad surprise because how do you take volunteers and people that really want to work with you and say, thanks for your service, but your term has come to its legally
That's
constituted
right.
end. So that's kind of a challenge for us internally, but we'll get there.
How about the business community in general here? Have you seen anything that you weren't aware of or didn't quite sink in until you met the people involved?
You know, that's a great question, Mike. One thing that I wasn't fully up on, but I'm becoming much more interested in, and obviously becoming more knowledgeable about, is the Energy and Innovation Center that's coming in. Now, you have to congratulate Mayor Stewart for that, winning that competition to bring that into the city. The renovation on the old Stanley building is underway. There's going to be at least 1,000 new jobs created there. That's a game changer. And yeah, I heard about it.
It's a $1 billion plan.
It is. It's
over, I believe, 10 to 20 years.
Yes.
But it's in place. Shovels are in the ground. Things are being constructed. You can't see them because they're behind the wall.
Yeah.
But if you ever go down between Myrtle and Burritt, I believe, right in that corner, behind those old Stanley buildings, which they love.
Yeah.
They are loved for this project.
Yeah.
and they are working on it as we speak.
Yeah, and it's really is a great project. I mean, you think about it, it's going to bring real cloud technology into New Britain. We will become the epicenter for cloud technology in Connecticut. What it is a refurbishing of the building, total refurbishing. It will then be operated on fuel cell technology from the fuel cells being made up in Windsor by Dunang, I think. I can't
Yeah, but in Connecticut.
In Connecticut. The fuel cells are manufactured in Connecticut. They'll be gas-driven but hydrogen-based and feeding back into the power grid.
Yeah.
It will be powering the technology center so that it's almost 100% self-sustainable. And then there'll be additional high-tech jobs coming in to run the cloud technology servers that are going to be in place in this project. So
many people don't realize how much these cloud computing centers, how much energy it takes to run them.
Yeah.
More than most manufacturing plants that people remember from the 50s and 60s.
Exactly. And so having this new cutting-edge fuel cell technology to fuel and operate the plants is incredible. And it's going to require all kinds of high-tech jobs. And high-tech jobs translated to high-paying jobs.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a great boom for the city, boom for the region, and boom for the state. We really will be the epicenter of cloud technology in Connecticut.
This is one of the first indoor fuel cell facilities in the country.
Yes.
Most of them are outdoors, mostly west. And here in this corner, this is going to be a very unique thing for us.
It's a
And
great
it's probably
thing.
the first renovation and transformation of a Stanley building in the last 10 years.
You would know better than I, but I
Yeah.
believe it probably is. And it's also unique in that it's not cleaning up a brownfield.
Right.
So the building itself is able to take this new technology and transform it and be cutting edge just as it was back when the building was first erected back in the 40s. So it's really an exciting project. And when you think about all the feeder supply chain industries that are going to be necessary for that, you could see things happening here. And it's really starting to percolate right now.
Are there any other projects on the horizon that you know of that are either in the planning stage or in the first phase?
Well, we just had the announcement last week of 600 new jobs coming in at the, help me out, I just had a mental senior moment, project in, it'll come to me and I'll call you on it.
There you go.
I'm just having a senior moment right now and can't recall it. But that's going to
But
bother me.
I know that anybody who hears 600 more jobs in New Britain will just be happy to hear that.
Yeah, it's the PERMA. Before the end of the program, I will have.
That'll be great.
And my
It'll come to
apologies
you.
to those who are bringing those jobs because I'm just flaking out right now.
Oh, Palmer.
Palmer, thank you. Palmer, Yes.
They've already stamped a footprint
Right.
into New Britain.
exactly.
And that's quite an accomplishment.
Yes, they're expanding their current site by another several thousand square feet. They're going to be adding new jobs, 600 new jobs. Again, high-tech manufacturing jobs. It's really an exciting project.
And they are really going at it.
Yes.
Because they just, within the last 3 or 4 years, just expanded into the plant that they have there.
Yes.
And so this is a good direction for us.
It is. It's advanced manufacturing, which is really great for this area. We're really going to be really hitting it on all cylinders with that. And it just shows people are willing to invest in the community because this is a community worth investing in. We've got good infrastructure in place. We've got opportunity, available land. We're close to almost exactly midway between New York and Boston. Right off the highways, we've got rail service. We've got great infrastructure in place, water, sewer, high-speed internet, all those things you need for good modern operating facilities. And so we're ready, willing and able
Ready
to
to
jump
roll.
up. We really are. We really are. And thanks for bringing me back to reality with polymer.
Do you see any others that are are working now that we might not have heard of?
There's several on the books that I can't talk about, but we've also had several small business openings in the area, which are very good. So a lot of restaurants have been opening up.
Yep.
So we've had some hair salons opening up, new clothing stores opening up. So you're seeing investment taking place in the community on the retail basis, which is not, retail's not the easiest business to be in.
Not these days, that's for
And
sure.
you certainly, when you're up against online business and you're up against Amazons of the world, and you're opening a new retail establishment, you've done your homework, you know you've got the product, and so you go forward with it. And that's what we're looking at with several of these opening up.
Well, between the CMHA building downtown
300 new people working downtown.
and we're adding housing downtown
Yeah,
with
Columbus
the
Corners.
Columbus Corners. How many units are there?
I think there's 80 units in the Columbus Corners, and there's a phase 2, which ideally will be kicking off sometime either late this year or early next year.
Which is the biggest housing development that's of an apartment complex here in 20 years.
Yes,
And this is phase 1 of a 2-phase project.
exactly.
And I understand they're about the same size each.
They are.
So, and it seems that there's going to be something for everybody in this one.
There's a little bit of, there's mixed, low, not low, but affordable income apartments, there's market rate apartments, there's retail, so it's a mixed use project, and that's going to be great for the city.
And you could see it's a different color every night.
It is. It is.
I don't understand construction these days, but I know that a lot of it is, almost seemingly paper surfaces.
Yeah.
And in that one, it's been white, it's been blue,
Yeah.
it's been, you name it, it's been going up. But it's gone up quick.
It's gone up quickly, and I believe they'll start occupancy there in December.
Oh my gosh.
I believe that's the plan.
It's pretty incredible. And that's going to bring another, at least several hundred people downtown looking to use those
Yep.
retail and those dining facilities.
Yes, there's a mixed-use retail component on the first level, and then there's 80 apartments, 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, have people living downtown. Again, more people living downtown, which is important for growing the economy. So it's really good. And it will help all the support the businesses that are here, the restaurants that are here, the shopping that's here. We've got great shopping downtown.
Yeah.
We really do. And it's a good mix of restaurants, so it's exciting.
There's still a lot of places to move to within the downtown area. They're
Yes.
still open above the retail levels. And so there's a lot of places to go up with expansion too.
There is. And when you see this type of investment coming in, other investors look to why are they putting their money there? And you see the opportunity for growth. The projections show we're on a very good upward trajectory right now. And one of the reasons is New Britain is very user-friendly for business. The ability to work with the city economic development team, they cut through the red tape for you, they help you, they welcome you, they want you in, they're aggressive about attracting you in, so that's a good thing for the city.
So there's lots of opportunity here.
There is.
And you may not have seen it in recently, but I mean in the last couple of decades. But suddenly New Britain's on fire.
It is, and a lot of what's going on is in the background. It's the planning right now. It's putting pencil to paper. The drawings, going for the permits, and that whole process. And permitting can be an absolute nightmare. But the cities and Berlin and Plainville have been very welcoming in cutting through the chaff and let's get buildings going up and let's get development moving. You can identify it right here in central Connecticut as a great opportunity for growth.
And this is a good time for businesses to get in and get the expertise of the chamber and its members to come into the New Britain community, the greater New Britain community, to be able to move forward.
Exactly. And one of the things we brought out through the strategic planning process was the great networking opportunities that we have.
Well, what I want to say as we wrap up, that if you really want to network, the place to go is the Greater New Britain Chamber.
Oh, it absolutely is. On a monthly basis, we've got more opportunities to network. We've got another one coming up with a new morning program this week, and it's going to be great.
Well, Bill, it's been great having you here in your early days, and we'll have you back here again to talk about the next building
phase
that's going up.
There we go. Thank you.
Thank you for coming, And thank you for watching this edition of Central Connecticut Now. We hope you'll join us next time when we have another newsmaker from our area or someone who's covering them for one of our media outlets. Have a great week.